Okay. It's 2025 or it's going into 2025. Whenever you see this video is all about manifesting, no buy years, habit building, things that I know everything about and things that I know absolutely nothing about. And we're going to start with what I absolutely know nothing about, because why not? So, manifesting. I made my first vision board this year, and it's a weird experience. So here's what I learned about making my first vision board. One, you have to actually know what you want. Now, first things first, when I started my vision board, I was like, oh, money. Obviously, I want money. Who doesn't want money? But I don't want money. And that was one of the bigger things that when I was going through these photos and I'm seeing like stacks of cash and all of these, like a Birkin bag, not the Walmart one, a real one. And I'm just like, I don't want these things. I don't actually want just to like walk into my studio and see like cash here and cash there. I want what money can buy. So once you know what you actually want, it makes it a lot easier to set up this vision board. So what I want is freedom. What I want is safety, security. I want things like that. And you can see it on my vision board. So I put that there. I want a lifestyle that lets me go to the gym. I want a lifestyle that lets me have these things that I actually want. So going through this exercise and finding out what you actually want works throughout what I actually do. So as a personal stylist, I ask people all the time, what do you actually want? What do you want to portray? What do you want to look like? And getting myself to do that same exercise. If you're my client, I'm sorry, I get you to do a lot of work. Like, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And that's why it works. Because once you go through the motions of finding out the actual core of what you want, that's where the magic happens. And so I'm hopeful that by doing this exercise myself and putting my vision board up on my phone where I see it every single day. I did a digital one. I just went to Pinterest and I found a bunch of different pins and things that I wanted that met the visuals of what I truly wanted, and I threw it up on my phone. And it's there, and if people see it, they can ask about it, and I have to tell them. I can choose to tell them because boundaries is up on my vision board. But that's the whole point, is be able to talk about it and see it, because you will get what you want by explaining to your community, these are the things that I want to do. And it's kind of already happening, which is weird. So on my vision board, you'll see a Pinterest little icon. I want to get better at Pinterest this year. I've never been good at Pinterest. I have seen Pinterest. I've been in the fashion industry for 10 years. So I know that Pinterest is a big deal. Am I good at it? No. Am I going to get good at it this year? Yes. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to get good at it. And we're just going to go through this together. I'm hoping that what's going to happen is that I'm going to manifest all of these things and just take you along on the journey, because that's the whole point. Like, I'm here asking you to keep me accountable, and I'm going to keep you accountable. Visual, YouTube video accountability or not. I mean, honestly, everything is on my email list because like I'm pretty active over there, but I write emails that don't suck. So people respond to me and then we keep each other accountable that way. It's a weird system. It works for me. I'm not a big TikToker. I'm not a big Instagrammer. I'm just like, let's find out what works and we're going to just make it work that way. If it's not easy, you won't do it, which leads me to habits. Habits are one of those things that I know a lot about. I have a very good morning routine, one that is set up through habits instead of a routine. So it's not like I do a sequence, but it's not thrown off completely if I don't do it. So for me, my morning routine looks like I wake up, I have water, then I have coffee. But I do have water, then I have coffee. I have a lot of coffee. And then I start reading. I do not pick up my phone for the first 20 minutes of the morning, at least, if not more than that. 20 minutes, half an hour, either way. Your phone, there's been so much documented proof about how your phone is just like sucking the life out of you. And I don't need my life sucked out of me at the first thing in the morning. So I just don't have it. And that's one of the habit building things that I trained myself to do. So not only do I wake up with my alarm, but I wake up with my alarm, I turn off my alarm, which is actually my phone, and I walk out of the room. Now, it was not easy to build these habits. Habits are one of those things where you need to do it pretty consistently. But if there's a habit that you want to break, then we need to make it uncomfortable. So one of the habits that I am actively trying to break in 2025 is not being on my phone late at night. I'm very good about not being on my phone in the morning. I am terrible at like the 10 to 11 witching hour. Oh girl, I'm doom scrolling on TikTok. So I need to find a way to make that uncomfortable for me. Now, one of the strategies I have for that is I'm going to actually remove my TikTok account from my phone. So I won't remove the app, but I will remove my TikTok login. So I have to log in every time I want to go in after a certain time of day. So maybe starting 5 o'clock, I'll set an alarm on my phone being like, girl, time to X-nay the TikTok. It sounds really uncomfortable, which is why I think it's going to work. But that's one of the big habits. Like I have my health pretty much on lock. I'm a pretty active person. So when it comes to things like that, what I'm really focused on is my brain health and making sure that I am meeting the needs that I have there. Straight up. That's all I'm trying to do, is just make my brain a happier place for me to live, because there is so much that goes on in our own brains that make life hard for no reason. It just makes life hard for no reason. I have clients where they're staring at themselves, hating their body, hating their clothing, hating everything about themselves. And it really is, why are we hating ourselves? That's not the point of life. So what they hate though is that they're comparing themselves to other people on the internet. And I can say this till I'm blue in the face. Like I can say this all day, every day, and you already know it. I'm not saying something that you don't know. It's the habit of getting out of that cycle, because once you're in that cycle and you're like, oh, well, I'll just go on TikTok for a few minutes. It'll be fun. It'll be entertaining. Oh, wow, I should be like her. Why am I not doing her? Well, she has 100,000 followers. Why don't I have 100,000 followers? Oh, well, it's because she's beautiful and successful, and maybe I should be beautiful and successful. And then I finally fall asleep thinking about all of these things over. So if I'm going to be the things that I want to be, which is actually not that beautiful, successful influencer, what I want to be is healthy, comfortable in my life, as in I'm not staring at myself in the mirror being like, ugh. And I don't want a zombie life. That's what I keep saying. I'm trying to find a better word for it, and I just don't have one. I do not want a zombie life. Now, with my experience using NLP, I know that our brains don't really understand the word no. We don't want. That's how I manifested my ex-boyfriend, actually. I said, I don't want military. I don't want someone who's shorter than me. And I don't want a relationship right now. Bam. So we learned from that mistake. We're not doing that again. We're saying what we do want. So instead of saying I don't want a zombie life, I'm going to say I want a full life. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's another habit that I'm trying to make, and I'm asking you to hold me accountable. So if you hear me saying don't want something, just be like, make a comment and say, girl, we're not doing this in 2025. We're just not. That's what I want. We were going to go into the positive, always phrasing what we do want. Here's what we're going to have. Here's how things are going to work. And hopefully that works out into the vision board or into the manifestation that we talked about earlier. And Rebecca, this is where you edit this out so that I know what I'm doing. That's also the way that we bring in and manifest abundance. There is so much available in this world, but the thing is, you have to know what you're going for, and you have to be willing to ask for it, because no one is just going to give you something for nothing. And we have all learned that the hard way. We have all said, oh, well, my work is just going to speak for myself. It won't. It might. It will help get you to the point where it can speak for yourself. But you do have to be willing to put yourself out there. You do have to be willing to ask. And if you are not comfortable asking, then we need to go back and solve that problem. And that problem is usually a confidence problem. And the best way to battle your own confidence is to manufacture it with a costume, which is where my whole brand was been developed. So if you don't know me, I am Rebecca Rowe. I had a fashion brand for 5 years. It was getting to the point where I was pretty successful. I was pretty proud of it. I had clothing in stores all across Canada. And last year, in the early 2024, my apartment flooded and up to my knees. So all of my boxes of spring clothing, spring collection that was fully made, ready to be shipped out, drowned. My patterns drowned. I had so much just not make it that it was devastating. I was out of my apartment for 6 months. I didn't have the money to restart, even with insurance and everything else. And so during that 6 months, I still needed to work. I still needed to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And so I took the skills that I earned in fashion school. So I have a degree in fashion design, and I brought it into what I know about human psychology, which is just like a hobby of mine. And I created this new job of being a personal stylist who helps women declutter their closet and find their personal style in their closet, because I am a firm believer that your style is in your closet. Otherwise, you wouldn't have purchased those clothing in the first place. It's just usually under a bunch of stuff. And the stuff that we don't need, if we remove it, you'll have just a collection, a small capsule of awesome, beautiful pieces that you love wearing. And it's your style, not a style. It is relatively simple to just build a style, build an aesthetic. I can put up on Pinterest being like, oh, this is this style. But finding a style that actually fits you, your lifestyle, your vibe, that takes a little bit more work. Now, the easiest way for you to start building your own personal style through this theory and these techniques is with a no-buy year. So if you spend the next 12 months not buying things that you don't want or don't need, or something that you do want but you still don't buy, that's where we're really going to get to the core of your intention. And intention is the whole manifest behind personal style. So I've built a no-buy blog and a no-buy spreadsheet, because that's the thing with all of these no-buy years, is that people are saying, oh, well, I'm just going to not buy clothes. I'm just going to not buy makeup. I'm just going to not buy skincare. But they don't really give you any of the tools on how. Like, oh, just don't buy it. There's so much other stuff that comes up in your brain when you hit a no-buy year. So part of that is you're building a relationship with money. So depending on how your relationship with money is right now and what you associate with purchasing, it can get a little sticky. And then maybe not in the first year, because you have that momentum and you have your motivation and your friends who are helping you with it. But a lot of the issues that come up with a no-buy year is, oh, well, I buy because I want a community. This is not something that people talk about a lot, but I've seen a lot of my clients who go into different like little boutiques and they buy something at each of these little boutiques, but they go in to have a conversation with the owner, and the owner listens to them and asks them questions. And like, these are salespeople who they know you and they care about their clients. Of course they do. But that's part of the process, and that's part of their routine, and the habits that they've built is going in, visiting their friends in their shop, and they end up purchasing something. So we've seen that. And if community is your core issue, then we need to replace community over the no buy, because if we replace community, then you won't be purchasing anyway. If you're buying because you're experiencing an emotion, so if you buy to make yourself feel better, if you buy because you're sad, if you buy because you're happy, all of those things, we need to replace those habits of purchasing when you're having an exaggerated emotion. I've also seen people who purchase because they're bored. So if you're bored, there's so many things that we can do to meet that need of, oh, well, I want something to do. So instead of browsing Amazon and then getting excited, because that's where your happiness comes in, it's not actually with the actual product that you end up purchasing. It's with the waiting for the product to come and your anticipation in that whole thing, because that's where your brain gets to daydream and play and say, oh, well, I'm just going to wear this dress and it's going to be great. And I'm going to go on my first date. And that first date is going to take me to Paris and we're going to end up walking along the Eiffel Tower and da 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 da. I've never seen a dress from Shein do that, but you never know. I'm just saying. So it really is a lot of other things that come up that we need to address during your No Buy year. So I am going to be talking about that on this channel throughout the year, because I am going to partake in a No Buy year with you. Now, I have pretty good buying habits, aka I hate spending money with a raging passion. So I'm anticipating that this won't be as challenging for me, but I can still talk on a lot of the different issues that come up throughout the year and talk about some of these no buy issues, because I am almost certain that they are going to come up. And once you hit that wall, if you don't have a plan to jump over it, go around it, go under it, that's where people fall off. And I don't want you to fall off. I want you to be successful in everything you're doing. So I'm making this promise to you. What is going to be challenging for me is doing this production, this filming, this talking to you for 15 minutes. That's going to be challenging for me. So I'll hold you accountable, you hold me accountable, and we'll call it a day. We're going to become really good friends by the end of this. And okay. I don't know if I actually made it to 15 minutes on this video, but we're going to call it a day there. And yeah, I hope you hang out with me for a little while and get to know me. No, we're going to redo that. Yeah, so I don't know if I actually made it to 15 minutes in this video, but this is my first one. So I don't know if I actually made it to 15 minutes in this first video, but it is what it is. Like I said, I have a bunch of resources already on my website. So all of that is in the box with all the words in it that I can't remember the name of, underneath this video. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please just tell me. Like I said before, we're in this together. So if I can help you, then great. And if you can help me, even better. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Okay. Why is this sign up so fucking hard? Yeah, so I don't actually know if I made it to 15 minutes in this first video, but here we are, round 1 complete. No, we're gonna do that again. Fuck, I'm gonna hate editing this. All right, so I don't know if I actually made it to 15 minutes in this first video, but you have some tools. Start your no buy year. In the blog that I mentioned before with the no buy year, it also has spreadsheets that you can actually just download onto your phone and go tick, 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 tick. Because if you're a Virgo like myself, we like crossing things off a list. So if you're one of those people who like having a little check mark next to some of your projects, then download those spreadsheets. And other than that, I'll see you next week.